Let's just establish this center. Dan Chen Ming Men. Feeling that your legs have come up from the ground and are gripping your spine here, enabling the sacrum to hang loosely and heavily beneath the Ming Men. Feel the tip of the tail, or imagine you feel it. It's difficult to feel it. It's like there's an eye in the tip of the tail that's looking down. So the gathering here in the Ming Men area, it's very local. So there's like a real sort of tight gathering here, which enables what's immediately around it to loosen and let go. Especially the groin here and the sacroiliacs, so where your legs actually grip your sacrum. But we'll just look at the breathing a little bit. So in all internal work, all sort of meditation practice, they recommend abdominal breathing. Just more relaxed, it's deeper. But also it gets a little bit of movement into the lower back. If I'm doing chest breathing, then I'm sort of heaving from my chest and I'm getting movement into my thoracic spine. When I do abdominal breathing, I'm getting a little bit of movement into the lumbar spine. Feel the breathing and let the spine flex with it. So as you breathe out, pull the belly in to squeeze the diaphragm up and expel all of the air. And then just relax and let the belly come out and air will suck into the lungs. So I'm pulling my belly in as I breathe out to help squeeze the air out. And then I relax and breathe in, let the belly just swell out again. Keep the hand on the Ming Men at the back. We're just trying to get those vertebrae just moving a little bit relative to each other. And have your fingertips on the danshen. As you bring your belly in, your fingers should disappear into your belly. Pull the belly in on the out breath. Almost like your fingers are trying to dig in and touch the spine. And now let's bring it into riding horse. And keep your mind here. Let everything that's around it relax. It's really difficult, especially here, the sacroiliacs. When you let the sacroiliacs relax, it's like your feet go, ooh, they sort of really flatten against the ground. And now let's try some of that heaven and earth exercise. Reaching up, leaning back a little bit, gathering some of the heavens or the sky down into the heart, letting the hands come down to the belly and then branching out down the legs, bringing some of the earth up into the belly and then up to the heart. And Here I'm really breathing in, taking the sky into me. And then I breathe out as I go down, but now it's my lower body that's breathing from the ground. I'm breathing the heavens in, the sky, the atmosphere, and now I'm breathing the earth in through my legs and my dantian. Think of it as breathing or as feeding. So here's like I'm drinking from the ground and then drinking from the sky. But a definite sense that I'm taking a little of each into my body. And now let's try the same thing, but left and right, turning to the side, opening up and gathering in from there. Particularly feel the hand that goes behind you, like you're dipping into that energy that's behind you and drawing some of it around to your front. Breathing in, breathing out as you come back to the front, breathing in, drinking of that energy, and breathing out as you come back to the front, expanding and contracting. Hands moving apart, feet trying to move apart, hands pulling together, feet trying to pull together. Here, really pulling the belly in and then letting it out. So let's just bring it to riding horse again. And now let's try some of the reverse breathing, the prenatal breathing. I just reversed the two actions of the spine. So now I imagine that I'm a baby in the womb, fetus, and my umbilical cord is attached to the mother, and I breathe through the umbilical cord because my lungs don't work and I'm in the fluid anyway. So in order to suck something from the mother, I need to pull the belly in. So I breathe in now. My breathing in phase is as I suck my belly in. So I pull my belly in. I'm imagining that I'm sucking something into my belly, but I also draw the air into my lungs. So we just suck in. And then you breathe out from the belly and from the nose as you push the belly back out again. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and out. As you breathe in, the pressure really increases inside this region. I'm pulling my belly in. I'm pulling my diaphragm down in order to draw air in. I'm also pulling my lower diaphragm, my pelvic floor, up as though I'm clenching my bum. And that's breathing in. So the pressure here is really increasing. But what it does, it sort of squeezes into the kidneys. So if you pull the belly in and breathe in, you can feel the whole kidney region sort of swelling, charging up. And then you breathe out and let the belly just flop back out, and then breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. And it's easier to feel and have some control over if you restrict the air intake by breathing through that small hole in the mouth. Breathing in, out. As you breathe in, the air's coming into the nose, but there's also a sense that you're sucking energy up into the Dantian region. So as I breathe in, I'm really drawing something up into the belly from the earth. And then everything just goes out. The air goes out of your lungs. The energy drops down. Everything's coming in. This is the yielding phase. And then it's all going out. That's the attacking phase. So you breathe in as you yield. So you're gathering power so that it can then explode as you let everything out. Breathing in as you pull in and breathing out. Aim for flexion in the lumbar spine. People don't like it. Now just back to riding horse. I remember when we started Tai Chi 40 years ago now. And John, he'd talk a lot about energy. And there's a phrase he used to say a lot, which was, use energy, not force. Or sometimes he would say it, use mind, not force. And I had no idea really what he meant by energy to start with, or also by mind. The way I thought of mind was as a place of thinking, a place of language and words, and rational. So you look at the world impassively, and you look at objects as though they are things in themselves. You don't look at the relationships between things, which is what it's a bit more intelligent to do. He'd say, use energy, not force, or mind, not force. So basically, energy and mind were the same thing. So the mind is much more a center of feeling, and particular of mood. So when he would say use mind, not force, really what you need to do is to be able to just induce a mood, induce the mood that would make what is required happen naturally. And the thing about this reverse breathing is it has a mood. It's quite tough and ruthless, and very much you are this center looking out at this world. That's our foundation, really. If you don't have that, then you're sort of at the mercy of the world that you're in. You need to be able to detach. It's what the Buddhists call non-attachment. You're not detached in a sort of cold, cruel way. You've just got a center. You don't need reassurance all the time. And now moving from leg to leg. I want to feel that basic action of extending, straightening, followed by a bending. So let's use it to turn the body. Just consider the right leg. So if you straighten the right leg and allow it to become a back leg, then it will turn you round here. And then if you bend that leg, it will pull you back to the front again. And then straighten it again. And then bend it. Straighten. Bend. Straighten. So we're only turning to the corner and then back to the front. And try and coordinate it with the reverse breathing if you can. So as I extend and straighten the leg, I'm breathing out. And then I breathe in and suck the belly in to contract the leg. Extend and straighten the leg, breathing out, breathing in. Breathing out, breathing in. And now some with the left leg. And now it's the straightening of the leg is going to turn me to this corner. And then I bend it to pull me back to the front. Straighten the leg, breathing out, bending the leg, breathing in. Straighten the leg, breathe out, bend the leg, pulls you back to the front and you breathe in. So I'm using my contracting Dan Chen on the in-breath to suck me towards that foot, contracting the leg and pulling up the leg from the ground. And now both together. Now I straighten one leg, pushes me round to the side, and then I bend that leg, pulls me back to the front, and then I straighten the other leg, sends me to the other side, and then bend that leg. So breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in. Breathe out, extend the leg, breathe in, contract the leg, breathe out, extend the leg, and contracting. Okay. We're using the breathing to bring flexibility into the lower back. And then you can really settle down, and it's almost like your lumbar spine disappears. It's like it's just one curve. So the lordosis in the lumbar spine, it's like a foundation. It's like a sort of solidity here from which the person can spring. And it's like a stiffness and a solidity that energy needs to get rid of if it wants to come into play. Exercising the breathing and getting some movement into the Ming Men in particular, so the center of the lumbar spine, you just find it just becomes flexible. And then you spring from the ground rather than springing from here. It's quite interesting when I work with people because they're really loath to get any movement into the lumbar spine. So I tell them, pull the belly in. And of course, they're not. They think they are. So what I do, I just go up and I just put my fingers here and I just dig right in and try and touch their spine. And they're shocked at just how aggressive it is, how invasive. But afterwards of just a few rounds, like 3 or 4 rounds of me helping the belly in, when they settle back into their posture, there's like a stuckness here that's just gone. It's like just full of potential instead of full of solidity. And now let's just try the same thing, turning, but now using both legs at the same time. Effectively, in order to turn away from the center, I'm straightening both legs. And in order to turn back to the center, I'm bending both legs. So if I just straighten both legs and I don't allow myself to come up, then I will turn. And then I'll try and pull my feet together and bend the legs, and that draws me back to the front. And I just go a little bit further just to start this turn to the right. And then I straighten my legs into this. And then bending the legs and pulling the feet together, straightening the legs, pushing the 2 feet apart, bending the legs and pulling the feet together. And again, this is the out breath if we're doing the reverse breathing. And then this is the in breath. Try and feel the front leg pushing and straightening as well as the back leg. We do a lot of work with the back leg because it's the one we need to work on really. But here, as I'm pushing myself around here, this leg is really straightening as well to make that turn big, and then both pull together. Both legs are active, but one's an active back foot, one's an active front foot. Breathing out, sucking in, out, in, out, in. Okay. And now the same thing, but just using one leg now. I'm going to use my right. So I straighten the leg, which turns me this way. And then I bend the leg, which turns me back to the front. And then I straighten the leg, which turns me this way because it's now a front foot. And then I bend the leg back to the front. Straighten, bend, straighten, bend. Straighten the leg, bend the leg, bringing you back to the front. Straighten the leg, but turning into it. Bending the leg. Straight, bend, straight, bend. Feel the spiral in the leg. It's easy, really, but it's in the arm. So when we straighten the leg or the arm, then it turns like this, it twists. So that's the attacking spiral, the elbows dropping and the thumbs coming up. And then when I bend the leg, it twists the other way. So get the elbow up. So I twist my hand like this, but I'm also trying to twist the leg. And then I got the yielding spiral here. And then here it's an attacking spiral again. My toes are trying to twist out like this. And then yielding, attacking, yielding, attacking, yield. All with my right leg. My left leg is just patiently supporting it. And now let's try just a little bit with the left leg. So I straighten the leg and it turns me away from it. And then I bend the leg and it turns me back to the front. And then I straighten the leg and push back on this hip to get myself to this corner. And then I bend, straighten, bend, straighten, bend, straighten. Try and feel the difference in the mood between a front foot and a back foot. Yeah, so this feels very different from this. This has got the feeling of repulsed monkey, when you settle back and really sink in order to extend forwards. And this is just a front foot posture, any of our pushes. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. in, out. Okay. Try and flatten out the lumbar spine. And it's difficult because we construct ourselves from here and we construct the world from here. So when this softens and becomes malleable and flexible, then really everything becomes a bit weird. You just feel the movement in the world rather than the still objects in the world. So energy is just movement. If I want to wake up to energy, I need to start sensing movement in the world, but also within myself, within my own body. Let's just try a little bit more of that reverse breathing. So breathing in and breathing out. You can keep it quite modest. Breathing in, breathing out. There's a sense that everything is breathing. Your bones are breathing. And now let's just bring the feet up. Okay, so we'll try that Qigong. You know, this one here where we bring the arms up, arms out, arms up, and then arms down. We're getting an in-breath for each of the first three movements. So I want to get the reverse breathing working. Place your hands on the belly and then just make yourself do really short, sharp in-breaths. So you can feel it clenching here as I make an effort to suck a lot of air in a very short amount of time. The belly sucks in, my buttocks clench, my bum tightens. And so that's what we're going to do and coordinate it with the movements. So I breathe in a short, sharp in-breath, and then another, and then another, and then slowly out. So breathing into the belly, breathing into the heart, breathing into the head, and then slowly out, the energy descending down through the body. And now let's just use it to step. So think of the stepping as one leg straightens to go out, and then it bends to pull me into it. The other one lifts and straightens to go out, and then bends to pull me into it. We want to get it with the reverse breathing. Basically, when we extend, that's the out breath. And when we bend, that's the in breath. So I'm breathing out. And then I breathe in and imagine that I'm sucking that ground up into my belly. And it also sucks the other leg up. And then I extend this on the out breath. And then I suck and breathe in. And then I breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, out, in, out, in, out. Breathing out, breathing in, pulling my belly in, pulling my pelvic floor up to suck up the ground through my foot. And then everything goes out and down, and then pulling and effectively pushing, pulling, pushing, pulling, pushing. The leg is a bit like an elephant's trunk. It's reaching out, dipping into the water, and then sucking water up using the in-breath, and then squirts it out the other leg, and then that sucks. And just try and get your knee as high as you can. And that will, again, that will help flatten out the lumbar spine, press the Ming Men back. Gathering. Feel the mood. Okay, let's just bring it back. So to start with, we get it all coordinated with the breathing, the reverse breathing. But eventually it doesn't really matter because it's much more, we're just trying to activate this pumping sort of machine. And we're using the coordination of the breath to establish the machine. But eventually, you can't start doing really short breaths all the time if you're doing a quick form, for example. But there's a sense that the energy is breathing, even though the air is coming in and out quite slowly. And just be aware that when you do good work, and for me, good work is work that pushes you to places you've never been before, and often places you'd rather not go. So your spirit needs to get quite charged just to stomach it. So if you work like that, if you do good work, the next day you're going to feel it. You're going to feel bad. It's the same with weight training. If they work really well, if they push themselves beyond where their strength will get them, then the next day they'll be nearly dead. Their muscles will be so sore. So with internal work, it's the same sort of thing. You don't have muscle soreness necessarily, but you just feel strung out and a bit irritable. And like you just can't bear to face what it was that made you like that again. So you just need to give it time. This gathering center here. So when this is gathered and together, it's like it sort of emanates a force field, springing everything open. So my knees want to go out. My shoulders and arms want to go out from my spine. And it's all because I'm really focusing here in my Dantian. I'm really on the outside edges of my feet. My insteps have this constant flow of energy up from the ground. I've got a student and she's 80, but she behaves like a 40-year-old and looks like a 40-year-old. She's a real Luddite. She doesn't have a mobile phone. Endlessly complaining about how the world, everyone's addicted to their mobile phone. Israel has the highest mobile phone and internet usage in the world. So literally, whenever you pass someone in the street, they're on their phone. You're never going to get a look in the eye. Even the children. And so she's saying how, everyone's addicted to their technology. And I think, yeah, that's true. But I've never known anyone like her to be addicted to the voice in her head. So our first technology, our first significant technology, language, possesses people from when they first learn it, and they never occurs to them that they could actually turn it off. And then the mind can just be free for mood, for intuition, for instinct, for energy. All of that is kept out when we think to ourselves. Okay, now let's bring it up. And just getting the kneading the ground, kneading the ground. Part of me is using this to sort of bubble. I have an ebullience. And part of me is using it to slip underneath into this pit beneath my feet. Physically, materially, the ground is a flat surface upon which I hold myself and move myself. But energetically, this is one of Heidegger's great insights. Energetically, the ground is an abyss. It's like a bottomless pit. And you can feel that when you get this going. Part of me is using the ground to get this buoying up here, but another part of me is slipping down into this fathomless subterranean pit. Remember that quote of Nietzsche's? I think if I had to choose one of the quotes, it would be this one. And even cheerfulness is the reward for a long, brave, diligent, subterranean seriousness for which, admittedly, not everyone is suited. So from this subterranean seriousness, which is basically our commitment to this internal path, there comes this cheerfulness. But unless that cheerfulness has this root of the subterranean seriousness, it lacks. It's just noise. So this activity has to come from this deep subterranean pit. Nietzsche was a genius. The earth has a skin disease. It's called mankind. He said that in 1885, when the world population was 2 billion, if that. Now it's 8. And then just letting it settle. It's still there. So my settled stillness contains a hell of a lot of movement. It's like a potential. It's an awareness, an awakeness, a consciousness to movement and to energy. So I don't want the way that I am to limit the world that I live in. And it will, inevitably. So if I want to become aware of energy and awake to the movement that's everywhere, that's bouncing off things, then I just need to be eminently flexible and fluid myself. Feel the belly. So to come back to your Dan Shen is all you have to do is just do a few rounds of reverse breathing.